Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Packet Live Community Roundtable. Nice to see you boys. It's Wednesday, 10 a.m. on Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, let's
How you guys-
go.
Back again.
Back again. Oh, what a week.
What a week. We got Biddy is ripping to the upside,
Is it?
broke 80, and it's just doing the damn thing, I guess. Decided it was ready to cook. It's actually pretty crazy. I charted this thing. I literally could not have charted this thing more perfectly. Just absolutely caught the bottom.
Here, you want to bring it up?
Yeah, here, let me
Here, I'm gonna share this. I gotta share this with the world.
Here, let me pull up my
Oops.
yeah. Sometimes it's pretty easy. It's like draw a line and just wait, and then when it does certain things, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But here, I'll show you this. And now when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, that was like the easiest trade ever. Obviously, it doesn't feel like the easiest trade when the bottom's falling out. But
hey Jess, did you know that there's an app, like an app where you can get, or on TradingView,
yeah.
where you can get dummy money?
Oh, is that right?
And they'll give you like $100,000 of fake money.
Huh.
And you can just test your trading skills.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so if you don't want to you just want to get really good at it, you can just mess around.
Problem with that is if you're in thin markets, your trade actually matters. And there can be markets that look too good to be true. Now, Bitcoin obviously is not one of those unless you're an investment bank.
Right.
But in thin altcoin markets, there's stuff you can see and it's like, wow, that looks great. It's just nice, smooth, upward climb. I think I'm going to get on the train. And as soon as you buy, the bot that was making that upward climb was like, great, we got one.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Yeah, obviously different with the big, with major markets like Bitcoin, for example. But yeah, that is true. Honeypot.
Yeah, one of my buddies is doing it, and he's just basically, his plan is to get really good at trading for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then throw in his own money, and just he said he's already got 50 racks trading stocks.
Oh, trading stocks. There you go. Well, look, if you look at this really easy pattern right here, caught the top at 125, bottom dropped out, and then it kind of right here back in January, we got a pump up to 96. It got rejected. I don't know what confluence. We can look at what that was aligned with here, what structures. But yeah, it kind of came up into this area right here, and which actually was a top right there and a top right there. So yeah, let's just call that here. We can just put a couple lines on here. But if we just say, hey, this was like this weird little top that we caught, and that interestingly aligned with this little top right here, this top right here back in May last year, this bottom right here back in June, all kind of aligned with that. And so that was obviously a level. And then I drew this line. Here, we'll change the color here, make this green. And then I drew this line, this downward red line. And here's the crazy thing is when you look at this little area, price bottomed out for what was that, for basically February until mid-April. So for a couple months. And once we broke this trend line, interestingly, this this charting tool called the long right on the breakout, right when it broke past that line, said, hey, enter into a long position, which would have been a pretty nice long. You would have gotten in at 75, you'd be up, $6,000. And now we're running into this, whatever this trend line is. That might be the, I don't know if that's the 200, or I don't know what this yellow line is. But yeah, we're right at a pretty significant resistant level right here. So this would be a good time to take some profits, that's for sure. But the big resistance is going to be up here about right below 90. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at,
could it drop another leg? I mean,
look, what it's going to do straight up is we're going to come back and back test this line for sure. And what's interesting about this line right here at 68, that's the blue line, is that there's a CME gap. I think it's like somewhere right in that level. I don't know if it's 68 or 66 or 69 or something, but I know that there's a CME gap down here. So depending what happens, I mean, it's definitely, we're most likely going to come back and test this line. I don't know when, but we will. And when it hits this line, that is a pretty good buy single usually, because it always comes back and back tests this line. And what's interesting about this breakout here is it never came back and back tested. Like it would be even better if it went up here and then came back and actually bounced off this line back at like 69, 70, but it never did, which is, not good necessarily. So yeah, this will happen. I don't know when. It could, we could go all the way to 90 and then some crazy shit could happen and we can come back down here, or we start, something can happen. But it could take some time. It could take 6 months. Who knows? But we will bounce off this line at some point for sure.
Remember that while the technical analysis is important for understanding how the price is going to get from point A to point B,
yeah,
the overall price depends. You can imagine there's a hidden curve of price. The average price is hidden. You can't see that one. And that is controlled by geopolitical events. So as the U.S. makes more and more fool of themselves in the Middle East, I think that there's a lot of people who are saying, okay, yeah, they're going to press the money printer button, and Bitcoin's going to be a good asset in that context. Also, if they think that a lot of Bitcoin being used for paying the toll to get through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that you can't rely on technical analysis to always work. And I mean, anybody who's ever looked at oil markets, gold markets, it's exactly like that. The technical analysis will tell you about what's going on when it's going sideways. When it's going flat, the technical analysis is perfect. It does all the things expected. But when there's some larger event that makes that asset become more or less valuable, that's going to supersede the technical analysis. And so it's going to kind of break expectations a little bit. It'll still kind of follow the technicals, but it will do it in a way that goes one direction or the other.
Yeah. What's interesting, I just got an email from Shopify that they just integrated USDC into Shop Pay, which is so funny because when we first started Packet Pal, we basically got kicked off of Shopify because we were trying to accept crypto payments, and now it's part of their offering.
I wonder how long it's going to take before, say, Amazon, for instance, just accepts crypto. All these big stores online are still kind of happy with the credit card system, but I wonder if that's going to end.
I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I think there's going to be integration of crypto more freely, but these companies are so fucking big. and they just know how to scam the customers so well by now that it's just, and also, even though we've come a long way on crypto technology, dude, my grandma's not using crypto technology anytime soon. Like, we're still way far from that.
Credit cards serve a purpose, clearly, because if you buy something and the guy sends you a box of rocks, you can call the credit card company and say, I was scammed.
Right.
This was fraud. And if you send somebody crypto, it's probably gone. In many cases with a wire transfer.
Cash.
Same thing. What's that?
I said that scam actually happened to me with cash. I bought a laptop that had a tile in it. Stuff.
Yeah, well, there you go. So credit cards do serve a purpose, but it is a bit surprising that companies like Amazon are still credit card only. You know, they're never really going to go away. You know, they're probably going to last till the death of the universe. But you would expect that these big companies would start to say, okay, crypto is fine because generally we're not that worried about the money. Or maybe they are worried about the money and they just don't want the headaches associated with like money laundering or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
And you can't get around it. You know?
Well, if you stand there and say, well, you got to have your money in a bank, it's got to be a credit card, then the money laundering problem is not your problem. It's the bank's problem. And so you can kind of make it the bank's issue and you don't have to think about it. When you're accepting crypto, you have that risk that somebody might be buying something on Amazon and then you're going to get a call and they're going to say, well, that money came from Iran. And you're, oh, crap, we're in trouble now.
We almost got away from the stigma that like crypto is only used for money laundering until the president of the United States started doing it. And then it's just like,
Right.
say that that's not what it's used for anymore, you know?
Seriously. Well, should we do a quick update on PKT?
Oh, I've heard of that
I
platform.
want to do I want to show a quick video. I want to see if I can play it. Let me see if I can do it. If I can share a video and if the audio can come through. Have we tried that before?
Yeah, we have.
And it's played.
It's work.
I don't
What's
know.
that?
Let's fuck around and find out.
Yeah, we'll fuck around and find out. All right, let's see. Here, I'm gonna pull it up. All right, let's see if it will allow me to share this thing.
It's not another video of you in a dress, right?
No, that one not available anymore. It's out of commission. Okay, let's see here.
Scrub the internet for those.
Huh. So it only lets you share. It doesn't let you share like it only lets you share. Oh, here we go. All right, let's see if this plays.
I want you to remember these two charts when you get cooked by the stock market. This is the view of a macro perspective of both the S&P 500 and the gold chart. Do you really think that this is sustainable? Do you think that this is going to maintain its current levels? I would think it'd be a good time to take some profits off the table. Most of you guys think that you're professional traders all of a sudden because stocks have only been going up. The truth is, it's only this. It's the M2 money supply. That's all it is. It's just making everything go up. The moment we go into deflation, which is when you have rising costs like, fuel, energy, right? When those things go up, we have to deflate the economy. And this starts to come down. When this starts to come down, asset prices start to come down. This guy right here, he's in a predicament. He either has to print or he has to print. And the truth is, both of them are going to lead to higher inflation. And when you have higher inflation, it will cause an issue for affordability. That's already happening. 43% of Americans say they couldn't cover $1,000 emergency with their savings. Or maybe foreclosure filings just hit 6-year highs as rising property taxes, insurances, the cost of debt, and the pressure of home ownership is eroding. But hey, trust your realtors, right? Because the world right now looks like this, except all your realtors are like, please, In fact, most of your realtors are shaking their asses on Instagram. I don't know if you noticed that. We are gearing up for the largest economic crisis in real estate and in the stock market that we've ever seen. Who's going to buy the boomers' 21 million homes in the United States over the next 10 years, as most of these people, 75% of these people are going to pass away? Who's going to buy it? 2022 was the trigger of the tsunami of sellers. You can see it right here, that 44% more sellers than buyers right now at this very moment. That means these boomers need to reduce their prices and fast. By the way, in 2022, we hit something called the crossover, and that's when we had more 65-year-olds in the United States than 18-year-olds. The silver tsunami is real. These are old people that overwhelmingly control the majority of real estate in the United States. They're going to sell all their shit on you. And as they've been doing, you're going to feel the effect on your personal home, that consumption product. It is not an asset. It is a consumption product. You're going to lose all your equity. These prices are going to fall by 40, 50, 60%. This is the worst time, feeling sentiment-wise, to ever buy a home since 2000s when we had the dot-com crash. And 2 final points here. First is this income cushion. This is the delta between your mortgage payment and the income surplus that you have. And that continues to get eroded. If you bought multifamily properties for income and you produced income, you wouldn't have this eroding. You would have expansion. And last but not least, for those of you that think, oh, well, my home has equity, it's a good investment. It doesn't. It doesn't have equity. That's the M2 money supply expanding the value of your property, but it's also expanding the taxes, insurance, maintenance, management, CapEx expenditures. Everything on that home has gotten more expensive and gone up faster than the equity went up. And half of Americans, half of your neighborhood is struggling with their housing payments. If half of your neighborhood starts defaulting, your home loses all of the equity that you thought was real. Please do yourself a favor, buy investment properties. Don't buy yourself a personal home. Wait until the silver tsunami takes full effect, when the next 5 years come around. And there are so many deaths taking place of old people. That's when you dive into buying yourself a place. But right now, hold yourself back. Just invest it first so you can have a lot of money ready to go to buy yourself a really good place in the next coming years. I want you to remember.
So
I sent that to you, didn't I?
What's that?
Didn't I send that to you?
No, I found it yesterday. I mean, I follow him. I like his content for the most part. But I thought those 2 charts of just showing the literally vertical, that shit is crazy. That's the here, I'll put those back up so you can
S&P
see.
and gold.
It was the S&P and the gold spot price. Yeah, those charts are psycho.
Looks sustainable.
Yeah, it looks.
This is why whenever we talk about in finding things to invest in, I'm always like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but the thing about this guy is that he is prolifically investing in real estate,
multifamily
investment real estate. You know, what he's saying is that don't buy a single family home for yourself to live in. What he's saying is that, and the thing about, especially in America, and I mean, this is everywhere, 1/3 to 1/2 of your income is spent on where you live every single month. Most people who don't have the money to just buy their property outright have a mortgage payment, most likely, or debt on their property that they're paying 1/3 to 1/2 of their monthly income to live in that property. And most people can't afford to buy a home even. And so they're renting. And so if you can own the property and be the person where half of people's income is being paid to live in your property as income, and the economics work on that, that's a great place to be, because that is recession proof. Even in a recession, people still have to pay their rent, no matter how bad it gets, you still got to pay for a roof over your over your head. So what he's doing is this guy's buying, I think he's got like 200 multifamily properties. He's in the process of like buying and renovating. And the way he's been doing it is he buys a lot of tax foreclosures, where he'll like go, and he's mostly buying in Miami right now, if not only buying in Miami. But what he does is goes down to the courthouse or go these like digital environments where people haven't paid their taxes, whether it be property taxes or other types of taxes, and the city or state comes and forecloses on that property, and he's going and buying, a multifamily, a $2 million multifamily. He's buying it for like 150 or 250 or 350,000 bucks, just picking up that tax bill, paying it, and then foreclosing and taking the property over, with sometimes just no one even in the property. And then he renos it and then puts them back up to rent. So he's not saying don't buy property. He's just saying don't go buy a property for yourself to live in, because ultimately that's not an investment. That's an expense,
Unless you're cash, then you need a place to live and you can have no mortgage.
Yeah, look, if you have cash and you are buying a property just to live in it, you think that's a good investment, then you can do it. I mean, even then, it's probably, and a lot of people argue, a better deal to go buy an income property and then use the income off of the property to pay your rent. Now you're actually living for free, because if you go and buy yourself a single family residence or apartment to live in, that's an expense. You're now using your income to pay for your living expense. That's not, and what he's saying is that whatever equity you think you're gaining gets evaporated quickly if the market comes down, because the market's literally just been going up nonstop for the last like 20 years for the most part.
I mean, the argument for buying, like, for a single family house to buy is, if you can just hold out for 10 years, then you'll get a much better deal than you'll get now. And that's a pretty fair argument. I mean, there's places where people are selling these small house, $1 million. It's like, just hold out. Just hold out a little bit. Yeah. That's coming down. And that's going to be more reasonable in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting though. People probably said that. I was looking at properties not to buy but to rent back in, what was it? I guess 2015, 2016, and prices seemed high back then.
Right.
And now they've gone up to X from that point in time. So it's like, if I had just bought something instead of rented, I'd actually have locked in a mortgage that's cheaper than, my rent. And
then that's the other thing, right? If you're taking a mortgage and you manage to get 3%, 5%, whatever, and it's fixed, you're in luck, because every time a guy has to push the money printer button, that mortgage just erodes away because inflation.
Yeah, indeed. It's a serious thing. So, but yeah, go look at the gold spot price. Clearly, it's really 2025 is when. Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, those charts are definitely ridiculous, and it's also interesting that S&P 500 broke 7,000 and now is ripped right to 7,200.
So these are old. This chart is from 2005. It's not even
no, it's which one?
Oh, it is, because it goes from 2009.
It's so compressed. It's such a big chart. It's what is it? A 70-year chart.
So I guess the point is you want to buy a gold mine, because then, like, if you're bored, you can just go dig some dirt.
Yeah. Anyone who bought a gold mine made the right decision. That's for sure. And it's funny, because if you bought a gold mine, let's say you bought a gold mine in the year 2000, when gold prices was about $400 an ounce, and now it's gone up 10x in the last 25 years, you're happy. But if you buy a gold mine right now and gold's selling for 4,800 an ounce, you're still probably happy, because it's still probably makes economic sense, because now the price is
gold crashes down back 600.
You know what I'd like to do someday? Maybe I'm going to rope you guys into coming with me. We go out into the boonies somewhere, buy like an old gold mine, it's really been developed, deep holes in the ground, and we rehab that thing into a bunker and then flip it for like 50 million.
So that you can live.
Some, rich weirdo that thinks the end of the world and all that.
And you're like, now you live near gold.
Well, no, you stay there for a while and you rehab the thing into a bunker. Put all the beautiful furniture, everything for rich people, and then you go and you market that thing to rich weirdos that are afraid of the end of the world and they want a bunker. And so you spend like $5 million to buy and rehab the thing, and you flip it for $50 million because bunkers just don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
It's that funny thing. It's like that meme where it's like when Bitcoin hits $1 million and it says there will be signs, and it'll be a picture of Caleb digging out a bunker on a gold mine, basically.
Yeah, but that's a profit project, right? Like you go into you do the bunker because you want to sell it. I mean,
yeah, it's
living in a
true.
bunker is crap.
Zuckdog already dug out his own bunker.
Yeah, he's off the market.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but there's so many more people like him that think that a bunker is the way to live. Me, I actually believe that community is the way to survive the apocalypse. You need to be, close with your neighbors, but a lot of people
community bunker. Now we're onto something.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think there's clearly, I mean, the problem is, where are gold mines? It's like gold mines are in South Africa, Australia. I don't think there's a lot of gold mines in the US, are there?
Oregon, Washington, right on that fault line. And
then
there's a bunch in Alaska, but nobody wants to go to Alaska. So you buy Washington because that's where you'd be able to flip it as a bunker. You go develop that thing, turn it into something beautiful, and then you sell it to somebody.
Yeah. Hey, it's probably
crowdfunded in Packet.
It's crowdfunded in Packet. Yeah. So we can give a quick update on the Packet scenario. Yeah, it's been a really crazy last couple of weeks because, the story hasn't changed. We've completed everything, and it's literally just come down to rendering the final transactional payment. And there's been some additional kind of work that we've had to do, finalizing everything in that regard. It's been some waiting that we've had to do. And we've been in talks with the seller, obviously, every single day, just waiting for that whole thing to shake out. And now is pretty much, I mean, it's so funny because we're like, oh, it's got to be this week, got to be that, got to be this week, got to be next week. It's now got to be, it was supposed to be today, like it was supposed to be last week. I think at this point, it's going to be at the latest next week. I really think that that's kind of the end of the road for us in a good sense, because there's some travel we need to do next week, and we need to have this thing completed in order to do that. So it's kind of given us a nice deadline to work against. And it's not just us. Obviously, if it was just us making decisions on when things happen, it would have been 6 months ago. But at the end of the day, we're beholden to a few people that we need their conference and support, and them to take certain initiatives as well. So kind of the sequence is, and we've been socializing this, amongst our team internally. And we also have talked to our, publicist, who's going to help us kind of get the word out as well, as far as timing goes. But we're planning to have everything tidied up and completed, let's say at the latest mid next week ish, end of next week at the very latest, but it's like a next week thing. If it not by the end of this week, so we'll see, but really it's this next like week to 10 days that we should get everything sorted. And then we're going to begin meeting with some journalists and some publications for some interviews. It'd be the week after, and kind of start crafting what that press release, the initial press release, will look like, start building what that story will look like. And then we would make that announcement probably after the Cannes Film Festival, just because that's such a noisy period around just communications in general. We don't want to get like lost in the shuffle, so to speak, unless it made sense, or if there was a certain publication that wanted to break the news. But yeah, we just don't want to, get lost in that media cycle. And but we can use that kind of that catalyst to be there right after or right at the end of, and hopefully get that announcement going. Obviously, within the crypto space, there's not anything impeding us from announcing there or whatever, because crypto is pretty much like a year-round thing. But in the media space, it's very cyclical, and it's a noisy period, going pretty much into the middle of this month. But anyways, I think that works into our favor. And then on the timeline, it's just going to be, we'll get shot out of a cannon as soon as this thing happens. It's a pretty exciting prospect. We've been talking to a lot of our strategic partners and the people that are involved adjacently to this deal and to this kind of next chapter, so to speak. And then obviously there's a lot of work we have to do in the community building space, both in the crypto space and, in the media crossover space as well. So yeah, really is feeling like the home stretch. It's been like a very trials and tribulated, period where we've just, had to have a lot of fortitude to push through, and a lot of highs, a lot of lows, to say the least. But we've been fortunate that a lot of our partners and advisors have really like stuck with us and given us a lot of great advice, and supported us to push through even when it felt, really, really challenging. So it will be rewarding to get to the finish line on this. And we're, obviously excited to share with everyone who's hung with us and attended all of these live streams over the last, 7 months, hearing about this and more, because we've been talking about this for well over a year now. When you hear kind of what it is and what we're doing, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm pumped on that.
Yeah, it was cool. I during the Milken event, I ran into Michael Turpin. Cool to chat with him about it. He's obviously has been a big supporter of what we're doing, and
really
he led the one of our rounds with Packet Pal and Packeteer and all that stuff. But yeah, he gave a lot of kudos that, we stuck with it. A lot of people just jump ship when your price looks as ours does. And, we've been very committed to the vision. And I think it's always been about the vision ever since we started this thing. It wasn't about, the chart or the coin price. And so yeah, it'll be rewarding for us, but also rewarding for all the people that believed in us and stuck around.
Yeah, obviously the price is important as well, and I think that we've said this, over the last year, that we really wanted something to market and to give people something to kind of hang their hat on, and that was like a key ingredient that's been missing. It's like you can't just like talk about something for the sake of talking about it, because that won't sustain. And so ultimately, and at the end of the day, the key is like, how do we build a real product and real utility that is sustainable, and then you have a persistent marketing campaign. And at that point, it makes it a lot easier for people to essentially participate and not have to worry about like the news cycle running out when everyone's, selling and the price, shifts. Obviously, there's, every market is cyclical, and there will be highs and lows, but ultimately you want to have something that's persistent. And that's just a factor that is very difficult in crypto, because it's very, event driven. And when you run out of events, then, the price deflates. And so it's been, frustrating to market when you just don't have a lot of foundation there, and everyone's just looking for, a way to make money. You need something that's like truly sustainable. And so that was obviously the catalyst for us to shift the direction. Wasn't really like to change fundamentally what we're doing, but it was more to give it like a real foundation to buoy us and enable us to, to operate. So that was the the vision here. And I think we're now we're just on the home stretch to tidy it up and be able to share with everyone on that.
Yep. So we're going to get after it. Lots to do. Big meetings today. And thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Indeed. Yeah, we'll catch you next week. We'll keep everyone posted.
Sounds good, boys.
All right. Good to see y'all.
See you on the next
All right.
one.
Late.